What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today, because you smashed that like button on the Darklord profile well above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, I thought I would bring you a demo test stand video to show you what this deck wants to try and achieve, how it does that, and what it can do going first and going second, as well as how it plays during your opponent's turn. So, with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. After a very decent shuffle and a good old 4-stack cut, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is like a pretty much god hand in my opinion, and the reason that I say it's a god hand is you've got your starter in the form of the Yugioh, you've got your Yugioh, which if you didn't have Yugioh, as long as you've got another Darklord, you discard, you draw 2 cards. Great success. And then you've got Herald of the Orange Light, so you get to protect yourself from a Droll, a Nibiru. I wouldn't worry so much about a... maybe a Fua is probably the most painful chummy, because that would end up giving your opponent 2 draws, I think. So maybe even 3 draws. So it could give your opponent 3 draws. So that's something you might want to consider in mind, but that's why I really like Herald of the Orange Light. I just think it's crazy good in scenarios like this. Anyway, we start off with the Yugioh. Now, the only thing that happens here is if our opponent goes like Imperm, Veiler we can deal with. If they go Imperm, or even Impulse, which would be really annoying, but that is the one thing you need to worry about. Everything else, you're pretty much covered with. And then you'd still have to then roll the dice with Yugioh, send Yugioh, and then go from there. So, we're going to go off the Yugioh's effect. So on normal special, especially on a Darklord directly from the deck, if they ash you, you are 100% going to Herald of the Orange it, because you can't afford for that not to go through. Because these two brand new cards are just absolutely mental for the deck. So, we summon out the Yugioh. Yugioh then goes, hey, I see you're a little bit light on Darklord cards. So, how about you have 2 Dark Fairy tokens, both being level 6? And you're like, thank you very much. So you're going to link these 2 both together, and the benefit of doing this one is, going first, you go Herald of the Mirage Light, that's your spell or trap negator. Going second, you go for the Protection of the Agent, and this just lets you start picking a card off the field. In doing so, trigger the Yugioh effect. This will allow you to grab a Darklord card or a quick play spell card. If you already hard open up the Darklord Dance, you can of course go directly for a Forbidden Droplet or a Forbidden Crown, depending on what you have access to. Now, the reason you have to specifically use these 2 as your link material is that your Evening Star requires 2 level 6 Dark Fairies or higher. Whereas you need the Yugioh to go to the graveyard to get you the Darklord Dance to get you to your Evening Star. And your Yugioh is not a level 6 Dark. So these 2 are the ones that specifically have to be used as those link fodder, because then you get to go Darklord Dance, use both tokens, and work your way into an Evening Star. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, so no infinite impermanence or effect failure. Great success. And then on top of that as well, is if it is Fusion Stones, you get to set a Darklord spell and a Darklord trap directly from the deck. Quick effect, pay 1,000 life points, target a Darklord spell or trap in the graveyard, and then replicate the effect or apply the effect from the graveyard. So I like to go for Rebellion. You can go for Enchantment if you want, but destroying your opponent's non-target is pretty effective. And then I usually go for Banishment. Now, you can very easily go for Contact if you want to. The benefit of Banishment is it means you can work your way into either the Contact for a double revival, or you work your way into multiple Rebellions and everything else in between. So what you can also do here is you can use the Yugioh's effect to banish it, to then add the Yugioh back to the hand. The benefit of doing something like this is that you want to save this for during your opponent's turn, so that if you have a Forbidden Droplet, if you've got the Rebellion, you've got this discard fodder that lets you send it, and then you get to replenish that discard fodder. Whether you go for another Darklord card, or whether you go for another quick play spell for the follow-up of the next turn, you're kind of covered in both places. Now, we're well within Nibiru territory, so my opinion, if ignoring Herald of the Orange Light, because this is our direct out to Nibiru as well, and if you wanted to play Dominus Impulse, you could do, but then it clashes with your Herald cards. But the idea is you'd activate the Banishment, this is going to let you add a Darklord card. Now, you can get really greedy and just add any Darklord card you want, and the benefit of that one is you just then use Yugioh to discard. But I would go for something like a Tespilla Poker, because then you do have a Darklord monster who would be destroyed by battle or card effect. You get to discard this card instead. Now, you can also, if you want to get the first of the Darklords on the field in play as early as possible, go for a Morning Star. Pretty much gives you the exact same thing. Remember, you're going to be able to replicate this. So you're going to be able to get this twice anyway. So it doesn't matter if you go for whatever one you go for. I'm just saying the options you have would be another trap card, Morningstar, Testable Poker, or Contact. Now, Contact I mean, even if you get hit with a Nibiru, it's not the end of the world, because you still have actually quite a few plays to make. Contact would be the most defensive if you do get hit with a Nibiru, but like I said, because these are quick effects to replicate, it doesn't matter when you get it. So activate Banishment. The safest route, let's just go straight for Contact, okay? And the reason I say this is the safest route is I'll then go Evening Star, put the Banishment back into the deck, and then I'm going to grab... I can go for Testable of Poker, but I'm just going to go for Enchantment, to be honest. Then what we do here is we're going to set the Enchantment. I'm going to hold the Contact. I don't want to use the Contact. And the reason I don't want to use the Contact is if I'm being cautious of Nibiru, okay? So we're going to set the Droplet, and then I can use the Yugioh if I want to. The benefit of using the Yugioh right now is I could draw into 2 random cards. I can get anything I want to. It doesn't make that big of a difference, and the benefit of that one is it then gives me a monster in the graveyard to revive off the back of Contact as well. So we'll shuffle this up. It doesn't make much of a difference how you do this, okay? The only difference is if you did it this way, you draw 2. That's literally it. So let's do it just to get greedy. So we draw 2, a Golgot, and a Canby. I mean, Canby's absolutely fine. It doesn't really do a lot for you because there's not really a lot that you could extend into. Like I could go for the Condemned Darklord if I wanted to. I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I suppose during the phase, gain 500 life points for every fairy on the field. I suppose that would be the biggest benefit because you would have to go... Special Summon down Canby, because you only control fairies. Use Canby's effect, tribute it off. I suppose this is good, actually, to just show you how the combo works. You go into Nightshade, link Nightshade off. Go into Bloom. Now, if it's linked on, you can make your opponent draw a card. You're not going to do that. You get Special Summon back Nightshade, and the best thing is Nightshade doesn't need to go to a particular zone anywhere. Link off Bloom, and then Nightshade. Nightshade would get banished. Condemned Darklord. Now, you can use Condemned Darklord's effect to discard a card, take a Darklord monster from the deck, and either add it to the hand or send it to the graveyard. Honestly, there is no benefit in doing that. The only reason we're making Condemned Darklord is that during the end phase, we gain 1,500 life points. The benefit of that one is that we've only paid 1,000 life points. So we're technically up. We're on 8,500 life points. And I suppose that's one very important thing to remember with Darklord is to maintain or like keep a track of your life points. So what we'll do is we'll pass to our opponent's turn. Now, during our opponent's turn, we've actually got a lot to do. Like, if they wanted to nib us here, fine. We just go Contact, bring back Evening Star. And then... I'm pretty sure Evening Star's a hard once per turn. Let me just double check. Yeah, you're going to use Following Effects. Otherwise, if it wasn't... actually, we could probably do it a little bit better. Either way, you'd basically just use Contact. You could bring back Yugioh if you wanted to. Yugioh would pay 1,000 life points, put Contact back in the deck, bring back the Evening Star. Pretty much the exact same outcome. So we'll hold it like this. Okay. During our opponent's turn, what's going to happen? Well, very simply, start off by using either Rebellion or Enchantment, whichever one you think is going to be most effective. Discarding the Golgot. In doing so, the card you're going to want to add is going to be your Morning Star. And the reason it's important you add your Morning Star is because you need to get it to the graveyard, and it's the one that will allow you to fusion summon the first Darklord with all of its effects intact. So then what you do is, whether you want to use Herald of the Orange Light, whether you want to use Herald of Mirage Light, or whether you want to use Enchantment. Doesn't matter which one you use, the idea is you just use one to discard a card. So let's say we activate Enchantment, okay? We discard the Darklord Morningstar, that goes to the graveyard, we now take control of one of our opponent's monsters. Now, we have the ability to use Darklord Evening Star's effect to replicate an effect in the graveyard, that will be Darklord Dance. This will then go back to the deck. You're then going to banish 3 fairies from the graveyard, one being the Morningstar, one being... I believe they have to be Dark Fairies. So one would then need to be the Jehuti, and one would then be Golgot or Yugioh. Probably going to go Golgot. Okay, so you're going to banish all 3 of these. This will then let you get into your first Darklord. And in doing so, if it's fusion summoned using Morningstar, which it was as material, you destroy all cards your opponent controls. And then during the main phase, pay 1,000 life points, especially on a fairy monster from the hand or grave. So at this moment in time, we've only paid 2,000 life points, but we've gained 1,500. We then use first the Darklord's effect. This will then revive you your Yugioh. Yugioh can then pay 1,000 life points and replicate either Rebellion or Enchantment. Now, obviously, we have no clear zone, so it's not going to be Enchantment, which means we'll replicate Rebellion, and that will then destroy one of our opponent's monsters. If you want to use Enchantment, of course, you've got Droplet and you've got these as your targets. I wouldn't send... the only ones I'd probably consider sending would be this and this, but you'd only do this after you've used this effect. You've still got Herald of the Orange Light. So we've had a field wipe, we've had Herald of the Orange Light, we've had a non-target destruction, we've had a non-target monster steal, we've got a spell and trap negate if we want to as well, and then we've got Forbidden Droplet. Okay, so let's say we've used all of those, okay? All of those effects have been used. These, remember, were made with Darklord Dance. So this is 5,000 base, this is 4,000 base. Let's say we use their monster as well. They can't target these cards, but if they were still able to destroy them, let's say worst case scenario they were able to destroy them, don't know how, but we've like traded back and forth with a lot of their interactions, okay? So we draw for turn. Didn't shuffle the deck, good start. Even if it was Rebellion actually, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But we'll shuffle the deck, right? Because we've held back the contact, which is why I think it's well worth holding it back, we draw a card, droplet, whatever. We now have the ability to activate contact. Contact can then revive. Now the card you want to revive is either going to be Evening Star or you're going to want to revive the Yugioh. It doesn't make that big of a difference which one you choose to revive because the idea is one will lead you into the other. Now remember, when you activate the Darklord contact, it special summons from the graveyard in defense position, so you're probably going to bring back the Yugioh because you probably want Darklord Evening Star in attack mode, okay? Then use Yugioh's effect, replicate the contact, puts your Evening Star into defense position, which again is still absolutely fine. So you've still got the enchantment in the graveyard, you've still got Forbidden Droplet. If you wanted to, another way to do it, to give you a little bit more, is that you could actually go, rather than bring back the Morning Star, you just use Yugioh using contact, bring back your Golgot. Golgot's effect spawns you 2 tokens. You'd then link these off. So let's go with, I mean, you can leave Yugioh on the field. Use Golgot on a token. Get you into, we want to be more aggressive now. So I guess we go into the Protector of the Agent Moon. So if it's linked summoned, you get to send a Sanctuary in the Sky, which you're not going to do. The idea or effect is you tribute a fairy monster, then target a card your opponent tries and destroy it. But either or, okay? The idea is your Golgot will then trigger. This will then let you grab Darklord Dance. You can activate Darklord Dance. You can banish. I don't really want to get rid of the thing, so I can banish. What have we got? I don't think I really need the first Darklord anymore. I could be wrong. Maybe I will be wrong, but let's banish that, and then let's banish the token, because the token's not doing anything for me. This gets you your second Darklord Evening Star. Now, Evening Star's effect can't really replicate the fusion, because there's no Dark Fairies left. But it still has the enchantment, okay? So, battle phase, 4,000, 5,800, we still got the droplet. During our opponent's turn, what we now have is we've got the ability of using either Yugioh or Evening Star to put this back into the deck. This would then non-target take control of one of our opponent's monsters. Now, that could be their top deck, okay? Like, we have burnt through so much, and for them to have cleared our field as well would have been mighty impressive. Like, this was overextension to the nth degree. It was just me showing you, like, trying to answer all those questions. Like, if you were like, well, what happens if they clear that entire field? I'm like, well, okay, well, this is how you can kind of fight back. It's why it's important to hold back the contact where it's all possible and not get greedy, because then that gives you a little bit more of a fallback if you do get hit with an Nibiru or anything else, and you don't open up either Impulse if you choose to play that, or Herald of the Orange Light. So we'll shuffle up, we'll do another test turn going first, and then we'll start going second to show you the aggressive push this deck can do. I really like how easy it is to kind of make the new Darklord Evening Star, and even just now how easy it is to get the first in the morning, the first Darklord as well is really cool. Anyway, shuffle up, cut up, draw, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, absolutely fine. What's going to be nice about this one is to show you the Cambi combo again. So special summon down Cambi, tribute off, give us access to the Trickster. Turn Nightshade into Bloom. Nightshade comes back. Banish the Nightshade, linking off the Bloom. It's your 2 fairy monsters. Gets us into Condemned Darklord. Condemned Darklord's effect, we're going to be able to take a Darklord from our deck and either add it to the hand or send it to the graveyard. But you do need to discard a card, so you're going to discard your Golgot. We haven't used our normal summon yet, so we're going to add the Jehuti. We're going to use Golgot's effect here. I mean, it doesn't matter if you use it here or later on, it's pretty much the exact same outcome. Grab yourself a Darklord Dance. Normal summon the Jehuti. Jehuti's effect here. Now, the only issue we've got here is we've got no other fairies on hand. So if our opponent interacts with us with a monster effect, you'll kind of look. But then remember, if they activated any monster effect as we tried to work into Condemned Darklord, we would have had the Golgot in our hand. So in theory, I suppose the safest route here would actually be to discard the Super Polymerization. And the benefit of that one would be that you keep the Golgot in the hand. So then you'd go Jehuti. Jehuti will then summon the Golgot from the deck. Golgot's effect gives you 2 tokens. Then link these 2 off. Go into Herald. Trigger off the Golgot's effect. Grab your dance. I don't think there's any need to banish the Jehuti right now, to be honest. Activate the dance, use these, and that's probably the safest way of doing it, actually, because we have maintained our monster protection with the Herald of the Orange Light the entire time now, which is really good. Get into Darklord Evenstar. Evenstar's effect, set 2. Banishment and Rebellion. Activate Banishment, add in... I don't think I need to go that greedy, to be honest. I don't think I even really need Yugioh in rotation. It would be nice, but I don't think it's really, really needed. So let's go for Enchantment. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I am going to get greedy, but I'm going to deck fin as much as I can. So, Evenstar Banishment. I shouldn't have got greedy, but... Banishment would add Yugioh. This is me getting greedy, because if I get hit with Nib, it's like, you need to hold the Herald of the Orange Light, and you don't worry about the contact. But what you do here, the reason I've done it this way, is I'll then shuffle up, I'll then go Yugioh's effect, send in the enchantment, which means I don't have to worry about a discard during my opponent's turn, draw 2, it's pretty good. Set 1 being the Super Polymerization, and pass to our opponent's turn. Now, what we're going to have here is that during our opponent's turn, we're going to be able to go... You either start with Rebellion or you start with Herald of the Mirage. It doesn't matter. Like, you just need to discard the Golgot. That's what you're aiming to do. Discard the Golgot. In doing so, Golgot then gets you your Morningstar. There we go. So we've used Rebellion. You could use Herald of the Herald of Mirage Light. It doesn't matter. You've still got Super Polymerization. So let's say we use Super Polymerization now. That will then work us into, I mean, these are your options, depending on what your opponent puts on the field. Mud Dragon, Garura, Dracozepelia, or even a Secturion Dragon. So you can go for any one of those 4. Then use Evening Star to replicate. So we're going to replicate Dance, put that back, Banish, 1, 2, 3. Field Wipe. Pay 1,000 life points, bring back Yugioh. Yugioh can now pay 1,000 life points to replicate Rebellion or Enchantment. Obviously, keep in mind, we've got no space on the field, so you'd make sure that you leave the space on the field if you want to use Enchantment. Like, that's the biggest brain play you need to remember. But the other is Rebellion, absolutely fine. Goes back in, non-total destruction. Herald of the Orange Light, because why not? Yeah, I don't know, like, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I can answer evenly, so I don't need to worry about that if that now comes back into the fold. I suppose the only thing I need to be a little bit cautious of is the Radiant matchup, just because of the amount of spells they have in comparison to the monsters. But then I suppose if you stop them getting access to like Corsair, or if you stop them getting access to certain cards, it makes it a lot more difficult for them. Anyway, we're going to shuffle this up. We're going to cut this up, and now we're going to go second. So you kind of want to see your interactions. We want to see Fualos, we want to see Herald of the Orange, Herald of the Green, you name it. We want to see those in our hand. So shuffle up, going second with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so our opponent builds their perfect field. And 6. Okay, well this is the downside of Morningstar, but again, it's not the end of the world, because remember, you can make this during, like, you can make the first Darklord during your opponent's turn, which is crazy. Let's start off with Canby. I think if you see Canby, you always kind of start off with it, because straight away, Canby baits an Ash. Like, at next point, you kind of want to Ash. Like, you don't want your opponent to get a free monster to the field. Link this off into Bloom. Effect of Nightshade. This probably interacts with any kind of graveyard interaction that would banish this, remove this, whatever. It kind of reminds me of the Sky Striker package. Kind of reminds me of, like, Engage into drones and everything. So both of these together, that gets banished. Now, if you need something, you go for the Condemned Darklord, but that would then bait out another interaction. Otherwise, you can just go straight for the Protector, and Protector would like trade for one. Honestly, I don't think we need anything here. Like nothing here. Like we're not missing anything because I can activate a banishment. I can search out the card. I can search out Jehuti, which is the starter. So if I'm making Condemned Darklord, I'm doing this to bait out interaction to my opponent. So we use Condemned Darklord. We'll discard the banishment, and the best thing is because I haven't used my normal summon, Condemned Darklord. Let's just tribute summon fairy monsters that require 2 tributes by banishing 2 monsters from our graveyard instead of tributing, and it is still a tribute summon, which means because we've hard opened up the Morningstar, I can just summon down the Morningstar, which is pretty funny. So I'll tell you what, let's go for. Have I got a card that can discard? I can get a card that will discard. So let's go for Golgot. Keep in mind, haven't normal summoned yet, okay? So when they're going to activate Banishment, I could actually activate Amdusk, doesn't make much of a difference. We'll activate Banishment. We'll go for Yugioh. I've got to remember how Morningstar reacts. So if it's Tribute summoned, you special summon a Darklord monster from the hand and deck up to the number of effect monsters your opponent trials while you control another Darklord monster. See, I mean, Morningstar is just cracked. So we use Yugioh. I don't actually need to do this, but the reason I'm using Yugioh here is I want the Golgot. So we're going to draw 2. Not ideal. I would have liked them to have stayed in deck for Morningstar. So now we're going to trigger the Golgot effect, and the reason we do that is you then get your Forbidden Droplet. So now, like, your opponent's completely screwed if they haven't stopped you to this point. And the reason that they're so screwed if they haven't stopped you to this point is you now get to tribute summon down the Morningstar by using cards in the graveyard. So we'll banish Bloom and Canby. Let me just double check it doesn't need to be a dart. I'm pretty sur it doesn't. Discard card, instead of tributing, you can banish 2 monsters from the graveyard instead. Yeah, it's fine. So we summon down Darklord Morningstar, right? So, special summon Darklord monsters from the hand or deck up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. While you control another Darklord monster, your opponent could not target this card with card effects. And then once per turn, send the cards from the top of the deck to the graveyard equal to the number of Darklord monsters on the field. And if you do, gain 500 life points for each Darklord sent. The idea is that Morningstar is going to spam. Now, we're going second. Our opponent built a field uninterrupted. So technically, we could be looking at a field kind of like this. Now, I'm not saying you would do this, because honestly, I would probably upgrade this into this. I would upgrade this into, if there's any more Darklords. No, there's no other Darklords, so it'd probably be something like this. And to be fair, it's as many as you want to. So, like, we could flood the field. We could really, very, very easily flood the field. I mean, you'd probably not want to do Jehuti, because then Jehuti won't be able to summon anything. And Golgot, I think it has to summon, it has to specifically summon 2 Darklord tokens. So that would be kind of irrelevant. The idea is I probably would have liked the Tespala Poker to come from the deck and maybe the Amdusk, but you don't want to fill the entire field is what I'm trying to say here. But like when you've got this, like this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Because then you go, cool, dance. I don't really want to banish Morningstar, but I could do if I wanted to. I mean, I would keep this in the hand. I would definitely put like this and this on the field. Or like even Indulge, doesn't make any difference. I could go for Indulge. Indulge would give my opponent a monster and I can use that monster as material if I wanted to. The idea is I'm not even going to resolve these effects. If my opponent has 4 monsters and I get to spam the 4 monsters, great. But anyway, dance, and we'll use these 2. Which gets me into here. So they both get banished. And then nope, that's the first Darklord. That's not the right one I want. That's the one I want. And then we'll activate the Morningstar to put the Darklord Dance back in deck. I could obviously use Yugioh on Aston if I wanted to. We'll banish Yugioh, we'll banish Golgot, and then we'll banish the Darklord Morningstar from the field. First Darklord effect, completely nuke your opponent's field. So like, their field is now empty. Like there's no way. No way. And you just go, cool, 5,000, 4,000, 2,500, 2,600, 1,600. Like, the Canby is actually very, very good. The only time that this becomes less effective is if your opponent puts you under a lingering effect. And what I mean by that is, if they hit you with a Drown Bird, like, it's not the end of the world, you can still make plays, but it would have made it awkward, because it means Banishment is your only search, or Condemned Darklord is your only search, so it can make it a little bit trickier. I think Droll would actually be quite annoying against this deck. But that is the idea that can really kind of bait out a lot of interactions for your opponent, and then having anything else, like add Super Polymerization to this. I actually still really like Droplet. The fact you could search Droplet is mental. Yeah, of course, I can search Crown and make like a card immune or not be used or whatever. But just to be able to search Droplet and be like, yeah, I've been searching loads anyway, I've got loads of cards I don't mind sending, just really does give you a lot of advantage. Anyway, we'll do our final test stand now, going second, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a dream hand. Why are you here? You're both one-ofs, like, you should be buried, but... Anyway, this is a dream opening, and the reason this is a dream opening is I get to go Herald of the Orange, discarding these, negate, destroy, Golgot effect, grab me... I mean, if I want to be extra defensive, I just go straight for a Droplet, but remember, this hand doesn't do anything. Like, if my opponent goes, okay, cool, pass, I'm like, I need to top deck a card that's going to be insane. Maybe you go directly for Dance. I could go for Jehuti. Jehuti would guarantee me a normal summon, but then you need to get the Jehuti off the field. That's the biggest issue, because like Jehuti's going to be your normal summon, and then maybe you put Morningstar in the grave. So it's like, okay, cool, your opponent activates another monster effect. Cool, Herald of the Orange. And they're like, whoa. I'll probably get the exact same reaction that I get when I do it in Cool Tunes. I'll be like, what? So then, like, we've interacted with them twice. We draw for turn. Again, not perfect. You probably want a little bit more to this, because you go normal summon this, they interact with it, you're like, okay, bro. But if it resolves, Jehuti, you go full combo. Golgot 2 tokens, these two. We're going second now, so unless you really want to worry about spell or trap, which your opponent might have set, then that's fine. Go into Moon. Golgot effect. Now remember, we did Golgot during our opponent's turn, we're now doing it during our turn, so it grabs us Dance. Dance the 2 tokens away, bring out Even Star at 4,000. Even Star sets 2, Contact, and I mean Banishment. Sorry, no, not Banishment. Enchantment. I didn't want Contact. I meant Banishment. We've got Morningstar in the graveyard, to be honest, so I could very easily Evening Star that. So I'm going to go Evening Star, put back Dance. Banish, yeah, let's go 1, 2, 3. We'll leave the Jehuti because it can recycle later on. Those 3 into First of the Darklord. First of the Darklord, completely clear the field off. Activate Banishment, grabs us. Is there anything worthwhile bringing back with Contact? No, probably not. Let's grab us Yugioh. We'll just get greedy. Shuffle these up. Yugioh, send Rebellion, draw 2. Canby, Jehuti. I mean, Canby's still live. Like, this is what I really like about the Canby. If I want to, I can go, cool, Canby, special, tribute, go combo again. Trickstar into Bloom. Bloom revive, link these both off, Trickster gets banished. Going to Condemned. Condemned can discard, being the Jehuti. Grab us any Darklord card. Oh, Darklord monster, sorry, not any card. I've got Amdusk. Amdusk is fine. And then what have we got? Jehuti can recycle from the grave. Ah, there. And I've also got First of the Darklord. Bring back Yugioh. Yugioh. Pay 1,000, put Rebellion back, clear another. Well, actually, they'll have no cards left. I've already resolved First of the Darklord. Put back Banishment. This is all greedy, by the way. Like, you don't need to be doing this. Grab Contact. Battle Phase. Like, I can go more if I want to, but we'll just go Battle Phase. And that's going to be game. Like, you've cleared the field off of the first Darklord. Like, it's really good. Really good. I really like this deck. There's still different variants I want to trial out. I just like this package. The only issue you have with this package as opposed to the others is the others can still be used if you open up pieces. Whereas if you open up the Trickster Nightshade, it completely destroys the combo because the Canby can only special summon from the deck, which is really, really annoying. So you then need to get Nightshade back into the deck, which there isn't a way to do it. But that's just the downside of this particular version. Anyway, that is it for the entire video. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer them for you. I really like Darklords. I love the lore. I love the artwork. I think it's one of the best looking and the most lore efficient, I guess. That might not be the right word, but like, I love the lore behind it. I love the good and the bad and the... Yeah. Everyone will know what I'm talking about. But artworks are just unbelievably stunning. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.